we do now have, again, a global capitalist system. It's very vigorous, and I think it's unstable. And I think it's built somewhat on the wrong principles, because there is a sort of a prevailing market fundamentalism. I used to say laissez-faire, but that's a French word. So I think market fundamentalism is a better way of describing, of believing that governments ought not to be involved in regulating the economy, and certainly international institutions shouldn't be allowed. And I think that is a false perception, because markets are, financial markets are inherently unstable. It's part of the system. And this goes contrary to the received wisdom of economic theory, which talks about equilibrium. Right now, everybody talks about imposing market discipline, as if that would take care of everything. I think you need to have an additional discipline, because if markets are inherently unstable, imposing market discipline, you are imposing instability. And how much instability can you live with? So you have to introduce this additional principle. Maintaining stability has to be an objective of public policy. And since we now have a global economy, we don't have the global institutions. We have them on a national scale, and they are working very well, but we don't have the international institutions.
When you meet policymakers, you meet them all the time, what do you say to them about how they should tackle this problem?
Well, as soon as things calm down, I think that there really ought to be a serious re-examination of the system, and there has to be institutional changes. I've made some proposals. There are others. I think it's a process of, like you had at Bretton Woods, a conference discussing what needs to be done, out of which came the IMF and the World Bank. I think it's time to re-examine their mission and their functions, and learn some lessons.
Are you saying these institutions are past their sell-by date, or could they be remodeled?
No, I think actually we are very lucky that we have them. Without them, the system would have collapsed at least 3 times in the last 15 years. 1982, 1994, and 1997. So in no way am I saying that they should be abolished. What I'm saying is that just as central banking developed in the 19th century, each time there was a crisis, there was an improvement in the institutional structure. We now have to do this, and the improvement that we have to make is recognize that we now have international financial markets. Therefore, we have to strengthen the international institutions.